Prabhu, if you go to this verse, 4:30-24. This verse shows us what is Krishna doing in the heart of every living entity. Since we know Krishna is in the heart, let's see what is he doing. Right? He's actually doing this. Let's read. Dear Lord, we offer our respectful obeisances unto you because your existence is completely independent, right, of all material influences. Now he says, right, your lordships always take away the devotee's miserable condition. Why? Because your brains plan how to do so. So in this verse, we know that what Krishna's brain is doing. He's actually getting, right, planning for us to get rid of our miseries. And miseries doesn't mean that we don't get problems or we don't get difficulties. No, miseries here means that he doesn't hamper our remembrance to him. That is it. For a devotee, miserable means that he cannot remember Krishna, that he never chant his rounds today, he never attend Mangala Arati. That is the devotee's miserable situation. So please don't confuse that, oh, I told you all today that Krishna takes away a miserable condition, that tomorrow everything will flourish. No, that's not the point. The point is that we always increase our remembrance for Krishna. That is needed for a devotee. That is Krishna in the terms of Hari Medasi. That is the verse for today. So if you want to remember what Krishna does in the heart, he always influences us to remember Krishna. That is what Krishna is doing. His brain is doing so. It's written here. Right? So now let's come to the first part of the purport for today's verse. And then we'll go through. Right? So now, Prabhupada says, as stated in Bhagavad Gita 10.10, the Lord, again in the heart, right, gives us intelligence. Give intelligence to the pure devotees so that they may be elevated to the highest perfection stage. So actually this purport and this verse refers to who? To the pure devotees. Actually, Prabhupada is talking in this purport about the pure devotees. And Prabhupada refers to 10.10 of Bhagavad Gita. So 10.10 of Bhagavad Gita is part of the 6 verses. 6 verses, Chatushloki. Yeah. So maybe let's go through the Chatushloki. Prabhu, you can go to 10.8. 10.8 is the start of the Chatushloki. Aham Samvasya Prabhu. Yeah. 10.8. Yeah, let's read together the 6 verses. Prabhu, the verse. Yeah. Aham Sarvasya Prabhu Matha Sarvam Pravartate Iti Matva Bhajante Buddha Bhava Samhita. Go to the translation, we can go to. I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. Everything emanates from me. The wise who perfectly know this engage in my devotional service and worship me with all their heart. So first of all, right, what the devotee knows? The devotee knows that Krishna is the source of all spiritual and material worlds. And because the devotee knows everything is coming from Krishna, he becomes wise. And what he does is that he engages everything in his devotional service with all their hearts, right? Now second one, go to the next one. Yeah. 10.9. Let's read together. Machchitta bhaktaka pranam bodhayanta parasparam tathayantascha mam nityam tushyanti charamanti cha. Okay, now let's go to the translation. So what happens after he knows that Krishna is the supreme, everything is come from him, he's wise, and then the thoughts of my pure devotees dwell in me. So what happens to the devotees' thoughts? They dwell in him. And after dwelling, their lives are fully devoted to my service and they derive great satisfaction and bliss from always enlightening one another and conversing about me. So now we come to the next verse, 10.10. Where Prabhupada points out in that purport for today. So what he says, Tesham satata yuktanam jatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yenamam upayanti te. Let's go. To those, again, to those who are constantly devoted to serving me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. So this translation refers to the pure devotees. Pure devotee. So those who are constantly, so what's the difference between the pure devotee and the practicing devotee, or the person who's practices like our sadhaka bhaktas, right? What is the difference? What is it?
Faith. Level of faith.
Level of faith. And the thing is that, the sadhaka engages according to rules and regulations. But the pure devotees, they always engage. They don't look at time, place, they see everybody as devotees. And for the practicing devotee, the faith is still developing. But the pure devotees have full faith. Actually, if you look at pure devotees, they are doing the same thing as us, but their faith is so much higher. Right? They are drita. They do it with so much of determination, and they are so much fixed in devotional service. Nothing can shake them. All the reverses in their lives, they cannot be shaken. They are like the rock. But for practicing devotees, right, sometimes you question, Krishna, why? We may not show it, but internally we may always doubt, Krishna, are you really there? I'm going through so much of suffering. And it happens to all of us. I'm sitting here, I'm even worse than a practicing devotee. But Krishna says this is the standard of the pure devotees, right? Constant. And the pure devotional service means cultivating anything and everything which is favorable towards Krishna, without material desires. Sometimes as practicing devotees, we do something which are nicely, Vedan Mangalarti, but in our heart there is some desire system. But for the pure devotees, their only desire is to please their spiritual masters and to please Krishna. That's all. And the pure devotee has full faith of the holy name of Krishna, which Krishna and Krishna's holy name are identical. That is the difference. For us, we may chant 16 rounds and then say, okay, I'm finished for the day, leave it. For the pure devotees, they just go on chanting and chanting. That's the difference between the pure devotees and the practicing devotees. So now we come to examples of devotees, right, who came from the path of ordinary and then became extraordinary. One example comes to mind is Narada Muni. So who was Narada Muni? Narada Muni was the son of the maidservant, right, maidservant's son. And he actually received the association of devotees when during the rainy season, Chaturmas time, and when the sages were passing, and the mother served the sages very nicely, and then he took the remnants, he served them with great humility, he honored, he actually was, he wasn't a playful child, right? Bhagavatam says that he used to sit down, he wasn't running around playing with toys and all that. And he actually, because of the service, right, to the pure devotees became so pleased with him that they gave him so much of mercy. So that's why, if you go to this verse, Prabhu 3:25, it's the seminal verse of how we should associate with devotees, right? And that's how Narada Muni actually associated with all the pure devotees of the Lord. So this verse is very nice. It's Satam Prasandi. It doesn't matter. We just go to the translation. In association of pure devotees, discussion of pastimes and activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is very pleasing and satisfying to the ear and the heart. By cultivating such knowledge, one gradually becomes at once on the path of liberation, and therefore is free and his attraction becomes fixed. Then real devotion and devotional service begins. This purport is very long, but the point about this is that without the pure devotees' association and mercy, we can never advance in Krishna consciousness. So the same thing as what Narada Muni actually demonstrated. And Narada Muni, even though he was a young boy, how Krishna gave him the mercy? You know? He only had his mother, right, to take care of him. But when the pure devotees left, his mother also passed away. His mother was bitten by a snake bite. And then what he says, I think it's very nice verse. Prabhu, can you go to 169? I think it's 169. Is it 169? Yeah, I think we go to 169. On how he accepted the devotee's mercy. Yes, this is the one. So once upon a time, another Muni is saying, my poor mother, when going out one night to milk a cow, was bitten on the leg by the serpent, influenced by supreme time. Then you go to the next verse. Next verse is very nice. It says that I took this as the special mercy of the Lord, who always desire benediction for his devotees. And so thinking, I started from the Lord. So you see, the pure devotees, they don't look at achievements that, I've got this, I've got that. In fact, this is an achievement for Narada Muni. Why? Because he says that he got a benediction of the Lord. Why? Because, in fact, this thing, because his mother went away, and he had no one else to depend on but Krishna. So this is how the difference between a practicing devotee and a pure devotee. The practicing devotee may say that, Krishna, actually what is really happening, can you please show me? But a pure devotee says, this is special mercy of Krishna. We may say, oh, Prabhu is the mercy of Krishna, but we never say special mercy of Krishna. So this is the mood of Narada Muni, right? And then, what happened after that? Narada Muni's pastime is very interesting, right? So after that, he actually, what did he do after his mother left? Anyone knows? He started moving to the north, right? Started moving to the north. And then he did not develop any pride or something, right? He just chanted and chanted and chanted. Let's go to this verse called 1:625. It's my Guru Maharaj's favorite verse. If we all master this verse today, Maharaj told us that we will never forget to chant our rounds. We will never forget. Let's read the verse, Prabhu. It's a very nice verse. Eta vadukto pararam tanma bhutam navolingam alingam ishwaram aham chatasmai mahatar mahiyase Krishna vananam vidade anukampita. Let's read the translation. Then the supreme authority, we all can read together. Then the supreme authority, personified by sound and unseen by eyes, but most wonderful, stopped speaking. Feeling a sense of gratitude, I offered my obeisances unto him, bowing my head. You see what Narada Muni is saying down here? Personified by sound and unseen by eyes, but most wonderful. So Krishna cannot be seen by our eyes, but he can be seen by our ears. Now we go down to the purport. Purport is very short purport. Okay. Let's read together. That the personality of Godhead was not seen, but only heard, does not make any difference. The personality of Godhead produced the four Vedas, wise breathing, and he is seen and realized through the transcendental sound of the Vedas. Similarly, the Bhagavad Gita is a sound representation of the Lord, and there is no difference in identity. You see, there is no difference in identity. Then the last word, the last sentence is very nice. The conclusion is that the Lord can be seen and heard by persistent chanting of the transcendental sound. So amazing verse, right? So Krishna and Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, and so many are not different. And because Narada Muni did this, his devotional service towards Krishna was unbroken. Unbroken in any circumstances he did not leave. In fact, it's in 1:631. If you go further down, it's in 1:631. He says that his devotional service is unbroken. Since then, by the grace of the Almighty Vishnu, I traveled everywhere without restriction, both in the transcendental world and in the three divisions of the material world. This is because I am fixed in unbroken devotional service to the Lord. So if we do nice chanting, right, nice reading, nice association, our devotional service will be constant and persistent and then result in unbroken. So this is how we achieve the result of unbroken devotional service. And the thing is that we become uninterrupted, and because we are uninterrupted, we become unmotivated. Yeah, they're all over the place, I think. Alright? So because of this, and then it's very nice, in fact in this particular verse that we are discussing today, Krishna mentions the word benediction. So I just want to touch about the benediction part. It mentioned, the word to word talks about Sakala Ashisham, which means of all benedictions. So since we are in terms of the word chanting, let's go to this Nam Namakari Bhavata Nirvashya. If you can find that verse, Prabhu, it's good. It's in the Shastakam, right? It's in the second verse. Nam Namakari Bhavata Nirvashya Tatra Pita Nirvita Sarenaka Etadisi Daivam Nitisham. So in that Nam Namakari translation, There are 5 things. These are very nice things. There are, Krishna says that he has invested, right? Invested all his energies. Is it there? Namamakam. The translation is there, Prabhu. It's very nice also. You can go through the translation. Number 2, yeah. You can just reduce the font size if you can. Oh my Lord, your holy name alone. Thank you, Prabhu. Yeah. Oh my Lord, your holy name alone can render all benedictions to living entities. And thus we have hundreds and millions of names like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names, you have invested all your transcendental energies. They are not even hard and fast rules for chanting these names. Oh my Lord, out of kindness, you enable us to easily approach you by your holy names. But I am so unfortunate that I have no attraction for them. This verse relates to what we are discussing today. So, how do you remember this verse? We just have to remember 5 acronyms: B, E, R, A, U. B stands for benediction. Right? Krishna's holy name can render all benedictions. This is B. And why? Because you have invested, right? You can see in these transcendental names, you have invested all your transcendental energies. E, all these energies are there. And then R, there are no hard and fast rules to chant this holy name. And then after that, because of this, it creates all auspiciousness to devotees, right? B-R-A. But the problem is, we are very unfortunate. Why? Because we have no attraction for them. We have no attraction for them. So importantly is that we have to understand that Krishna and Krishna's names are not different. And because of that, he has invested all his energies in his holy name. And then there are no hard and fast rules. You can chant Krishna's names all the time, anytime. Right? In a wedding you can chant, in a crematorium you can chant, in a wedding you can chant, in a birthday you can chant, anytime. And because of that, that's the only way we can approach Krishna in today's day and age. There's no other way we can approach Krishna, especially in Kali Yuga. And then, he's very kind, but we shouldn't be the last one. We shouldn't be unfortunate. We are unfortunate because we don't approach him and we have no attraction for him. So please don't be that unfortunate. Let's be fortunate in this. Alright? That is the thing. But the practical way, what Prabhupada has shown us, it's very nicely described in 10.14.3. 10.14.3. So as practicing devotees say, Prabhu, how do we 24/7 approach Krishna by chanting? How we have work to do, we have so much of assignments, we have children. So how do we do it? 10.14.3 gives us the answer. Right? It's a very nice verse, but we're not going to go through that. We'll just read the translation. Those who, even while remaining situated in their established social position, throw away the process of speculative knowledge and within their body, words and mind, offer all respects to description of your personality and activities, dedicating their life to these narrations, which are vibrated by you personally, by your pure devotees, certainly conquer the lordships, although you are otherwise unconquerable by anyone within the 3 worlds. So what we must do? We must simply hear about Krishna, right? So we can remain where we are, right? This translation says, we can be established, but we should not speculate. We should hear from the narrations from the pure devotees and hear from Bhagavad. And then what happens is, Krishna becomes conquered. Even though he's unconquerable, he becomes conquered. Why? Through the process of hearing. Because he's in the heart. When someone hears their glories, they become happy, isn't it? Even though they may say, no Prabhu, no Prabhu. But inside their heart, okay, I'm not too bad. But Krishna is transcendental. If he's in your heart, and if you're always chanting his glories, really, right, he becomes very pleased with you. He becomes. That's how Krishna is. Why? Krishna is a person. He's not an object. He's not a stone. He's really a person. If you serve Jagannath nicely, you can ask Matajis and all who are here. They become very happy because Krishna reciprocates with them. He's not just like that. He's supreme. He's supreme, right? So therefore, important thing like what Narada Muni has shown us is that we all have to be very serious. We have to be unbroken. We have to always chant Krishna's names, and we have to hear about Krishna, and serve the devotees. The last pastime I can think of, it's about who? Who comes to your mind? We talk about Narada Muni, right? We talk about what's the devotee, right? Who was very determined. Dhruva Maharaj, right? And that pastime was on I think the 4th canto. And what actually what did he do actually? That Krishna actually became very attracted to him. What did he do? First thing, he was actually asking his father, right, why he couldn't sit on his mother's lap. So what did the father say? The father said, no, you have to come and be born again in another moment, and then only you can sit on my lap. So he was very upset because he was a Kshatriya. He was very upset. And what did he do? He go to his mother. And his mother told him that you go to the forest and then you can find Krishna, and Krishna can fulfill all your desires. And while going to the forest, he met Narada Muni, who became his spiritual master. And what did Narada Muni tell him? Narada Muni tested him, right? Say that, you go to the forest. You go and play with your toys. You don't go to the forest. It's not for you. When you grow older, then you can go to the forest. But he was so determined, he said no. And he was very angry also. He said, I want to achieve something far greater than my father. So then Narada Muni saw his determination, gave him a mantra, right? Called Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So what did he do? He went to the forest. Of course, he did all the austerities. And then finally Krishna appeared. In front of him. And then when Krishna appeared in front of him, it's a very nice verse that he chanted, right? I think it's in Madhya Leela Prabhu, Chaitanya Charitamrita. It's in Madhya Leela, chapter 24, I think verse 219. It's a very nice verse. Sthana Bilasa Tapasi Stitoham. That particular verse is very nice. Yeah. Let's read the translation. Yeah. When he was being blessed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Dhruva Maharaj said, "O my Lord, because I was seeking an opulent material position, I was performing severe types of penance and austerity. Now, I've gotten you, who are very difficult for the great demigods, saintly person and kings to attain. I was searching after a piece of glass, but instead I found a most valuable jewel. Therefore, I am so satisfied. Therefore, I am so satisfied that I do not wish to ask any benediction from you." So, what is the devotee's achievement? Transcendental achievement is this. What Dhruva Maharaj achieved. He achieved something that nobody else could achieve, that he achieved Krishna. And he compared all the other things to be like a piece of broken glass. So what to take back from this whole class, this whole verse today, right? That for a devotee, right, no devotee got transcendental achievement without getting the mercy of the pure devotee. That's one thing you have to understand. Only the pure devotee can actually give Krishna to another person, another devotee. It's through the mercy, right? And what we must do, we must always surrender to the pure devotee first, and then only we can surrender to Krishna. But what to do if someone asks, Prabhu, I haven't developed a desire to surrender to anyone, even to Krishna, I don't have the desire. But I know Krishna is supreme, but I have no desire to surrender to his representative, nor to his devotee. So what do we tell such persons? In fact, it's very nice. It's in this particular verse. I can't remember that verse. It's Akama Sarva Kamova Mokshama Udariti Trivena Bhakti Yogena Vyajate Purusham Param. It's in Bhagavatam, I forget that verse number. So I just read the translation. A person who has broader intelligence, whether he be full of material desire, without any material desire, or desiring liberation, by all means worship the Supreme Whole, the personality of God. So you don't have to worry about whether you have material desire, you have no surrender, or whether you are full of material desire. You just have to chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Automatically, there will be a transformation. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Sorry, I took up a bit of time. Any questions? Any comments? Please. Anything you'd like to hear? Anything I said wrong, please forgive me. Any comment, any questions?
Thank you for your...
No, nothing. Thank you. Thank you for
I
coming.
want to ask,
No, it's okay.
it's all subtle. We
It's
cannot-
subtle.
Sometimes we will not feel the reciprocation of the Lord and all. So what we are doing, whether it is pleasing to Krishna or not, we really don't know.
Yeah.
And, if some devotees glorify also, we should not get proud also.
Yeah.
So many things are there. How to?
It's a very nice point. Actually, a devotee asked my Guru Maharaj, right? Maharaj, I'm 20 years in Krishna consciousness, I'm chanting and reading, but how do I know if the Lord is reciprocating with me? Maharaj said very nicely, he said, like when you take off from an aeroplane, when you take off, you will see that, the aeroplane is really going very fast. Like you feel it, right? But when you go airborne, when you're on the air, you find that is that aeroplane moving or not? You don't know. You don't know. When after a few hours, hey, you reach Delhi, you reach Mumbai, right? So similarly, when you start devotional service, it's you really feel it. You chant 16 rounds, you feel Krishna reciprocating, you see devotees, right? But after a while, hey, I'm doing everything. But actually, Mataji, the question, the answer is to your question. Because you are continuing devotional service, that itself is a fact that you are progressing. You see? You understand my point? Because we are continuing devotional service, we are coming day in, day out, we are chanting, we are reading Bhagavatam, we are offering prasadam, that itself means that we are progressing. You can never be, you can never see a car, right? Always, it's either going forward or going backwards. It's like that. So as long as you are doing devotional service, you are moving. But you cannot see the speed because you are already there. It's very fast. Does that help, Martin?
Yes, yes. But
So-
in devotional service also, we have to keep on introspecting whether.
Yes, that's why it's very good. That's why it's very good to have guru and also friends who are close to us, right? They can check us. They say, you're not doing something right, or guru is there, it's even better. Or in fact, spouses, or in fact, family members who are devotees, they'll check us. They say, I think something is not right. So it's good to develop friendship, and also Krishna in your heart tells you, right? If something is not right, let's do that. But it's up to us whether we want to hear Paramatma or we do not want to hear Paramatma. Thank you, Mataji. Very nice question. Anyone else? Yes, Prabhu. Go back, please.
Thank you so much for the class.
No
For
problem.
the explanation. But I really wish that you could speak more often. Thank you so much for the wonderful class and sharing so many unadulterated and information directly from Bhagavatam. So we were
It's devotees.
people relate. So I just wanted to share one
Yeah.
thing. You mentioned about hearing and chanting, and you can do it in a crematorium or also in a wedding.
Yes.
So I was hearing one class from a brahmachari who was saying that there was a day where he was invited to speak on Bhagavad Gita or a devotee wedding, okay, in the morning, and then some devotee had passed away, so he had to go and speak in a crematorium also on the same day.
Same thing.
So when we came to wedding, so it was a devotee wedding, but everyone was busy, everything, and they were just happy, frolicking, and he had to speak just to encourage, that now devotees are it is an important event and everything, but nobody was much interested because they are busy in their own stuff. So the wedding that was happening.
Yes.
And he had to do the formality of speaking for 5-10 minutes, and then they presented him something, and then
Just for the sake of
Bhagavad Gita. And in the evening, it was he had to speak in a crematorium because it was a very sad moment, and some person had died, right? But in the crematorium, the people were more attentive and receptive for the message of Bhagavad Gita.
Yes.
So whatever you are speaking, the people were, really getting touched by it.
Correct.
So you were saying that, it was more auspicious to speak in the crematorium than to speak in the wedding, because there people were much more receptive and they were hearing
Correct.
more
Correct.
attentively.
Yeah. So two things, right, Prabhu? Thank you for sharing. So it shows that Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, it's absolute, right? Whether you can speak it in the crematorium or whether you can speak in the wedding, both are the same things. But because it's absolute,
Yeah.
Krishna is absolute, right? Sachin Ananda Vigraha. So you can preach anywhere. Of course, Maharaj told us that when you're in a crematorium, you have that, I forget the Sanskrit word.
Over.
Yeah, you become very detached, You feel that, okay, I also may come one day in there, I also may actually come to that. So we become very detached. So the detached, because the detached consciousness is there, we become very receptive towards Bhagavad Gita and the messages. It's natural, bro. Right? If you go and sing in a crematorium, you will see very nicely devotees are singing with you. Or if a non-devotee start singing also, because they feel that, okay, I also may be one day like that. But in a wedding, everybody forgets happiness. That's why Kunti Mata prays, right? Krishna, give me more and more problems, so that I remember you all the time. She never said, give me more and more happiness, I remember you all the time. So in sadness, we remember Krishna more. We do. It's factual. Even though you are not a devotee, you start remembering Krishna more when you are in difficulty. Because you have no one else to turn to. That's the thing. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you. Okay, that's it. Then we will end. Jai Gurudhara Srimad Bhagavatam ki.
Jai.
Jai Srila Prabhupada ki.
Jai.
Jai Srila Gurudev ki.
Jai.
Jai Gaur.